Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to get stuck into a topic that's generating a lot of buzz. Darwin Nunez and, well, his future at Liverpool. Looks a bit uncertain, doesn't it?
It really does. Yeah, we've gathered quite a few recent reports, from various sports news outlets, and they all offer a slightly different take on whether he's staying or going.
Exactly. So the plan for this deep dive is to try and sift through all that speculation, cut through the noise a bit, and really understand the key things influencing whether Nunez leaves Anfield. Okay, let's dive in and see what the important bits are for you.
Right, let's start maybe chronologically. Back in January, there were those links floating around connecting him with River Plate.
Yeah, I remember those cropping up. From Argentina, right? What was actually behind that? Was there anything solid?
Well, according to Stefano Di Carlo, he's River Plate's communications president. Those January links were, quote, false. He seemed pretty clear, denying any approach for Nunez then.
Okay, so a flat denial for January. But did he rule out maybe going back in for him later, like in the summer?
Not completely, no. Di Carlo did say that River Plate will be looking to strengthen certain positions in the summer window. So, while the January stuff was apparently off the mark, it doesn't totally close the door on them maybe having another look later on.
Interesting. So maybe not right now, but perhaps something to keep an eye on, a potential return to South America. Okay, what about those really persistent rumors about Saudi Arabia? They keep popping up.
Oh, yeah, that's been a constant thread. There was definitely serious interest from Saudi clubs back in the winter window.
And it wasn't just vague talk either, was it? We heard actual club names mentioned.
Exactly. Al Hilal and Al Nassr were the main ones linked, and there was talk of potentially massive wages being offered to him. Some reports even suggested Liverpool knocked back bids around the 70 million mark.
Wow, 70 million. That's serious money. Why do you think Liverpool said no back then?
Well, I think at the time, the thinking must have been that they needed him for the Premier League title race, right?
Yeah.
His contribution was seen as more valuable than the cash then. But now, with the season ending, you've got to think that Saudi interest could easily flare up again this summer. Feels quite likely.
Absolutely. The money over there is just huge. And doesn't Al Hilal being in the Club World Cup this summer kind of add another twist?
It does, yeah. Good point. There's this really short, specific transfer window for clubs in that tournament, just June 1st to the 10th. So if Al Hilal are still keen, and if Liverpool decide they're willing to sell, things could happen very, very quickly in that little window.
Right. A quick deal to bolster their squad for that competition. Okay, so a potential future River Plate interest, very likely Saudi interest returning. What about staying in Europe? Any clubs on the continent looking at him?
Definitely some noise there, too. AC Milan, for instance. They're reportedly keeping an eye on things. Apparently, they thought about a move earlier in the year but didn't go for it then. Now they seem to be monitoring again.
Milan? Okay. Big club. Makes sense. Anyone else in Europe mentioned?
Yeah, Napoli and Atletico Madrid are also supposedly weighing up moves this summer. Napoli, especially with Antonio Conte likely coming in as manager, apparently sees Nunez as like a top target for their attack. Although, funnily enough, they were also linked with Kevin De Bruyne briefly, but that KDB to Liverpool link got shut down fast.
Yeah, De Bruyne to Liverpool. That would have been something. Okay, so Conte wants him at Napoli potentially, and Atletico.
Atletico, under Simeone, are also apparently looking to add more firepower up front, and Nunez is supposedly on their list. So yeah, it shows there's real interest within Europe too, not just the massive money from Saudi Arabia. Different clubs, different reasons maybe.
Okay, so plenty of potential suitors, it seems. But let's turn to Liverpool itself. What's actually happening at Anfield that might be fueling all this talk about him leaving?
Right. This is where it gets really interesting, I think. Because even though Liverpool had a strong season overall, Nunez himself has, well, he struggled to nail down a regular starting spot under Arne Slot, hasn't he?
Yeah, his time on the pitch, or lack of it, has definitely become a big talking point for fans.
Massively. I mean, he's only started one Premier League game in the whole of 2025. That was back in March against Southampton. If you look at the whole season under Slot, it's just 8 league starts. He's often been behind Luis Diaz, behind Diogo Jota in the queue.
That's surprisingly few starts for a player they spent so much on. That must be tough for him. And the word is the new manager isn't exactly his biggest fan either.
Well, the report suggests Slot is, let's say, not entirely pleased with Nunez's overall game or effort. There's even been talk of public criticism. The feeling seems to be that Slot just doesn't see him as, a fundamental piece, not an integral part of his plans going forward.
Wow, okay. That's pretty clear, if true. And how is Nunez himself supposedly feeling about all this? Has he been happy?
Apparently not, no. Reports said he was quite frustrated when Slot apparently stopped him moving in the winter, possibly to Saudi Arabia. And there was that report back in February suggesting, kind of bluntly, that Darwin's career at Liverpool is over, and adding that he even plays like he knows it too, maybe picking up on fan frustration about missed chances. It points to a bit of a disconnect.
Yeah, sounds like unhappiness potentially brewing on both sides there. A difficult situation. So what's Liverpool's official line? Are they actually looking to sell him?
Well, multiple reports are saying Liverpool are indeed ready to sanction his departure this summer.
Right, that sounds quite definite, if those reports are right.
Yes, and it seems like they're already making moves behind the scenes. The club has apparently already started assessing the market for an ideal replacement. They're actively planning for life without the Uruguayan international. That kind of forward planning really suggests they've made a decision or are very close to it.
And the reason isn't just about squad space, is it? There's a strategy there.
Yeah, the main goal seems to be to raise funds and make room for the signing of a world-class forward. They specifically use the phrase proven goal scorer. So it looks like they want someone more reliable in front of goal, perhaps.
Which kind of links back to some of the criticisms of Nunez's finishing. Now, what about that rumor about the bonus payment? That he wasn't starting because of a clause in his contract.
Yes, the Benfica bonus. A report came out of Portugal suggesting his lack of starts might be because Liverpool wanted to avoid triggering a $5 million bonus payment due to Benfica when he reached 60 combined starts in the Premier League and Champions League. He's currently stuck on 59.
So the idea was they were deliberately benching him to save money.
That was the theory, yeah.
Yeah.
But Liverpool sources had come out quite strongly against that. The Liverpool Echo was very specific, saying there is no suggestion the player is being omitted for financial reasons. They pointed out, look, we turned down $70 million in January, so why would we bench him over $5 million now?
Okay, fair point. So the club's saying it's purely about football reasons, not finances. And they also denied actively trying to sell him to River Plate already, right?
Yes, those reports were also denied by Liverpool sources. They said he wasn't offered to River Plate ahead of the summer.
Right. So Liverpool's pushing back on the idea it's about money or that they're desperately trying to hawk him around before the window opens. Okay, let's flip it again. What about Nunez himself? What's his mindset supposedly like in all this?
The report suggests Nunez has already started to seriously consider his future at Liverpool. And even stronger, that he now knows he has no future at Liverpool and has begun making moves to leave.
That sounds pretty final, doesn't it? Like, he's accepted. It's probably over for him there.
Yeah, that really does sound like he's made his mind up, or had it made up for him.
It does. And don't forget, he was apparently previously already open to a potential move to Al Nassr back in January. So it suggests he's not necessarily against leaving Anfield if the right offer comes along. And wasn't there some social media thing, too? A deleted post that hinted at his frustration?
Yes, exactly. Back in April, there was this deleted post where he supposedly showed he was unhappy about not starting, apparently asking why he wasn't playing more, especially after his last start had, in his view, gone well. And, you know, when players do that, even if they delete it quickly, it just fuels all the speculation about an exit.
Yeah, the classic delete doesn't really make it go away, does it? Okay, let's quickly touch on that Benfica bonus again. Even if Liverpool aren't deliberately avoiding it, him leaving would still affect Benfica financially, wouldn't it?
Oh, absolutely. His potential departure, if it happens this summer, could cost Benfica a $5 million bonus. That specific bonus is tied to him making 50 Premier League starts for Liverpool. And right now, he's on 49.
Just one more Prem start needed for that payout.
Exactly. Benfica have already got $10 million in bonuses from him, $5 million after 10 starts, another $5 million after 25 starts across the Prem or Champions League. But with Liverpool out of the Champions League this season and only a few league games left, the chance for Benfica to get that final $5 million gets pretty slim if he leaves this summer. So it adds another interesting financial wrinkle.
Right. So even if it's not Liverpool's motivation, it's still a consequence for Benfica if he goes. Okay, finally, let's look at what some ex-Liverpool players are saying. It seems like quite a few of them have weighed in, and there's a bit of a pattern.
Yeah, definitely. Quite a few former players have gone public saying they think he'll be on his way out.
People like Michael Owen, he was pretty blunt, wasn't he?
Very blunt. Michael Owen just came out and said, I can't see Darwin Nunez in a Liverpool shirt next season. He also threw in that he thought other Premier League clubs might be interested, as well as teams abroad. Owen often talks about needing that clinical edge. Maybe he feels Nunez just hasn't quite shown that consistently enough.
And Stephen Warnock. Similar view.
Yeah. Warnock suggested Nunez could become surplus to requirements, especially with the new manager. He even said Liverpool need to sign 2 new attackers this summer, regardless of what happens with Mo Salah, which, suggests a pretty big shakeup might be coming to their front line.
Stan Collymore had a slightly different angle, didn't he? More about the pressure.
Yeah, Collymore said Nunez looks too robotic playing for Liverpool. He thinks the pressure at Anfield is maybe getting to him, making him less instinctive than he was at Benfica. His conclusion was pretty stark. Nunez should leave because he's not up to the standards needed at Liverpool. That highlights the mental side of playing for such a massive club.
And even Robbie Fowler, Liverpool goal-scoring royalty, he's been critical too.
Yeah, Fowler basically said he doesn't think Nunez has the quality needed to be Liverpool's main striker. He stressed the need to just score goals consistently and perform better when it matters. Coming from Fowler, that carries a lot of weight with fans.
And lastly, Emile Heskey. What was his take?
Heskey focused on what he sees as a lack of composure in front of goal, which, as he said, is just crucial for any striker at the very top level. So yeah, if you look at all those ex-players, the general feeling among them seems pretty strongly weighted towards him leaving.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this all up. It really feels like Darwin Nunez's future at Liverpool is, well, extremely uncertain. You've got reported interest from South America with River Plate, serious potential offers likely coming back from Saudi clubs, and then European teams like Milan, Napoli, Atletico keeping tabs.
Yeah, and then internally at Liverpool, you've got the limited starts under Arne Slot, reports that the manager isn't fully convinced, and the club seemingly preparing for life without him, maybe looking for that proven goal scorer.
Plus, Nunez himself is reportedly frustrated and maybe ready to move on. And while the club denies it's about money, that Benfica bonus adds another layer. And, as we just heard, a lot of former players think his time's up.
So hopefully, you now have a much clearer picture of all the different factors swirling around Darwin Nunez right now, all the different perspectives and potential outcomes.
Exactly. And just to leave you with something to think about, Liverpool spent a huge amount of money on Nunez. And we've all seen those flashes, those moments of raw talent and huge potential he clearly has. So thinking ahead, what would actually count as a successful outcome here? For Liverpool, yes, but also for Nunez himself in whatever his next move might be. What sort of club, what kind of environment do you think would really let him unlock that potential and consistently show what he can do? Something to mull over.